Welcome, everybody, to the Brad and Dad podcast.
Woot.
My name is not Brad. This
No,
is my dad.
my name's not Dad,
Your name
actually.
is not Dad. Well, you get
I
called
go by
Dad more
Dad
than
in
I
many.
get called Brad, I think, on a regular basis.
Cool.
We are here to talk about nerd stuff, Marvel recaps, tabletop news, regular news, not regular news.
No,
I
not
don't think
regular
we'll be
news.
covering that whole canal situation.
The Suez Canal. Regular news sucks, man. Let's talk about fun stuff.
Although, actually, to be fair, that is probably the more interesting than anything else we've got coming up. Um, I I love that we're back to 18th century shipping routes now. Just everybody's going around. Anyway,
That's right. Hey, yeah,
the
they're
point
rubbing it
is,
down.
the
Southern.
point is, we're not here to talk about that. So, we are going to start off with a recap of the latest Marvel show. There's going to be pretty much Marvel content or Star Wars content or something for the foreseeable future every week. So that's our very first segment, and it's going to be full spoilers. So this week is the second episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If you have not
Spoiler alert.
watched yet, yeah,
Look away now, children.
You're gonna want to skip ahead. Make sure you go watch it, and then you come on back to us, and we're gonna kind of talk about it. Then we're gonna go over some news from kind of just like the general, pop culture sphere, movies, TV shows, things like that. And then we're gonna do a little segment on D&D. We this week played. I didn't get much playtime in. I didn't get much playtime in. No, I got a little bit done, but then it started kind of freezing up on me, and I had to run an actual D&D session. But
I got you.
but enough that I have some impressions. We played. Shoot, what is it called? Journey to the Savage Frontier.
Treasures of the Savage Frontier.
Treasures of the Savage Frontiers. It's an old 1991 MS-DOS Dungeons and Dragons game. So we got some fun impressions. I played it. This is like the first time playing it. He played it like when it came out. Hipster, OG nerd.
Before it was cool. It wasn't.
I mean, I think that's definitely the phase of D&D where it wasn't considered cool. You know what I mean? Like that, like it's cool now. Critical Role has made it cool, but that was when there was weight attached to that. You could not go to a college party and be like, yeah, I played you. Because if you do that now, people are like, sick. Can you be in my game?
Sweet,
like,
so do I. What do you play?
Dude, sick. Yeah, like it's I love it. I think it's great, but it is absolutely a part of the more general pop culture fabric.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
And then we're gonna give away something.
And we have a giveaway going on.
We got it figured out.
Yeah. So if you want to find out how to win a copy of Candlekeep Mysteries, is it too early to spoil what it is? Keeps people hooked, right?
Yeah, no,
That's how you do.
We're gonna give one away. I'm just gonna
we're gonna give one away.
And I'm gonna send it to your house.
Yeah. So stay tuned to see how you can do that. Falcon Winter Soldier episode 2.
Let's hit the recap.
Spoilers are on. Do you wanna summarize what we got in this episode?
Well, my summaries are like reaction summaries.
Do it.
Because I'm just not immersed enough in the backstory and all of the details, Easter eggs and stuff. Like I'll scrub through things and I'll notice one or two, but I don't know what they all mean.
But just like plot wise.
Yeah, I'm an emotional reaction.
There you go. Yeah.
So first of all, get rid of Captain Kangaroo.
Dollar store Captain America.
I hate this guy so much. Okay, so there's a couple of emotions going on. First of all, I'm like, I want my Avengers back.
Yeah.
I want my Avengers back. Like, where's the team? And I can feel the pain in Falcon and Bucky.
Yeah.
And they're looking at this guy, and he's a Cap wannabe.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even he just doesn't measure up in any of the categories.
Yeah.
Like he's a bit of a hothead. We could see right at the end there. We're like, whoa, easy fella,
Yeah.
He's definitely a goody two shoes. He's liking the what do you call it? The pomp and ceremony too much. I don't know. His appearance on like the Good Morning America little segment.
Yeah.
Gets out into his old high school and stuff. First, I was like, oh, he was a high school football player. Well, I have some identification with that.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I know the culture. I know what kind of,
Yeah.
you know, people that can help create characters and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But then he gets out in the field and he's cheering and he's signing autographs. I was like,
Yeah.
this is not Cap. Like,
I mean, and on that note, just as far as, because like Easter egg wise, maybe you picked this up, maybe you didn't. The kind of jazzy tune they had him coming out onto the field with, that's from First Avenger. They played that when Cap was going on stage to sell war bonds, when he was doing the whole routine. You remember that segment before he kind of goes rogue in the First Avenger. The initial conception of Captain America, he gets his powers and then they're just using him as a propaganda tool. So whereas Steve went off the rails because he realized that this was pointless and it was ultimately only kind of serving, the people in power. It was just sort of he was a walking advertisement.
Yeah.
That's the same song they played when this guy came out, and he's all in. He's a high school football player who went in the military, it seems like, kind of straight away, and he's been serving his entire life. He seems to me to be like, he doesn't seem disrespectful to the Cap moniker, which was something that I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. He seems like not like an awful person, but he is way too, like, he is just like 100% poster boy.
Yeah, that's what
he's
I'm
the
getting.
guy they wanted.
Boy,
he's the guy he's the guy they wanted when they first rolled Captain America out. This is
parade him around.
This is the government's ideal Captain America. He's a military veteran with all these medals. He's got that face and
punchable. Definitely
the punchable face.
Oh my gosh. There was one line in there when they said, "Wait, how did you get permission to do that?" And he's just like, "Well, it was me." It was like,
he's pulling strings and kind of abusing his power a little bit.
Seriously, but now I'm not at all deluded into believing that this is on purpose.
Oh, so
Marvel's doing this, like they're making us hate him.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell is the guy who's playing him. I love Wyatt Russell. He's been in a couple things that I've really liked. So I like the actor. And I saw some interviews this week where he's like, it'd be an honor for people to hate me. Like, that's the goal. Like, he's clearly aware that this is meant to be like that uncanny valley kind of.
I think he's probably a jerk in real life too.
Oh yeah. I imagine that's how it works, is the actors and the people are the same. But no, I agree. Like, I feel like there is very much this intentional, like, off-putting, like, this is your new dad, like,
that's right.
And I thought that it was, what was really fun was kind of this whole episode is Sam and Bucky finally got kind of met up, and they went on a little mission. Yeah. And pretty much the main topic the entire time was how much they also hate this guy.
Right.
And so I thought that was really fun to just have the audience and the characters basically yelling at their TVs the entire time about how much they hate this dude.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah. So I got some notes here. And because basically what we got was they collide, New Cap and Sam and Bucky on a mission into, was it Munich? To investigate the Flag Smashers, where they realize that not just one of them superpowered, but they are all superpowered, and they are running from somebody called the Power Broker. So I think I mentioned it. There was something about the Power Broker watching in the credits last week. Clearly, they're foreshadowing this Power Broker. Sounds like it's the villain, the main villain, if I was to guess. So they basically kind of had that tension. They introduced as well, alongside John Walker, the new Captain America, who someone pointed out that in the closed captions, they don't subtitle him as like Walker or anything. They subtitle him as Captain America, which is upsetting. And then they use Captain America's like theme tune when he jumps in. Like, they're just like, it's super, super uncanny. But his buddy introduces himself as Battlestar.
Yeah, that's a
lame
hero name.
Battlestar is a comics character, which is interesting.
From DC?
No, Galactica. I don't know. There's a joke there. I can't construct it. But yeah, no. Walker's buddy's Battlestar, and I looked this up, and so he was U.S. Agent's partner in the comics.
Right.
He called himself Bucky for a while as like a code name. The writer of the comic didn't know that Buck was a demeaning term once used for black male slaves.
Whoops.
So the writer was like, oh, and they changed it, and they had like that it happened in universe. Like someone pointed out, this guy's like, hey, you should probably don't use that name. So they changed it to Battlestar, which is probably why it's not a great name, is because they were really stretching to find something like patriotic and superhero. Like they kind of used all the other names already. Like if you're down to U.S. Agent, it's kind of already straight. Like there's not a lot of places to go. So
we're already in rough territory.
But
there's people in the world who are really just bad at naming things. And whoever named Battlestar is one of those people.
But regardless, what is interesting is in looking into it, Battlestar, U.S. Agent, and the Power Broker have a comic storyline.
Okay.
And at some point, Battlestar and U.S. Agent come to blows, and then they kind of reconcile. And the Power Broker in the comics is actually a company called Power Broker Incorporated that experiments on people and gives them superpowers. Which sounds pretty like that sounds like something you could easily adapt into this storyline. Yeah, maybe the Flag Smashers got powered up by the Power Broker and they're booking it. Like they kind of cut and run, took the powers, and they're using them now for their own
makes sense
agenda. So I think that'd be very interesting. But that was just an interesting kind of comics link where there's kind of this, this racial undercurrent to the character changing their name and being sort of this. I do find it pretty interesting that this new Cap, first of all, of course, the new Cap's a white dude, you know what I mean? And then they give him the token black sidekick, which is also what causes Falcon to hop off that wagon by the end. Is he's like, come on, I need Cap's wingman by my side. And he's just like, okay, of course, that's where it like, so I
punchable.
Yeah. Which leads into our other Captain America reveal. This isn't the only new Captain America. We got Isaiah Bradley. And I am super intrigued by that character. That's a really cool concept. Yeah. And I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's that?
I think it's really compelling. Do you think Sam would have given up the shield if he had known about Bradley?
No. Yeah, I don't think so. It's an interesting one because then they go on, Sam and Bucky go on to discuss this. Like, you kept this hidden. Like, there's a black Captain America back in the history somewhere, and you didn't tell me about it.
Yeah,
and all of that is pointing to and it's kind of tying in with the racial issue that Marvel's going after. Like, even the scene in the, I don't know if I'd call it the ghetto, but the rough part of town where they go to see Isaiah. You know, they get pulled over by the cops, and the two white cops get out of the car, and I'm like, dang, we're going
Dude's
there.
Got his hand on the gun the entire. I was like, wow.
And they're looking at Falcon, and Bucky's kind of got a free pass already. Yeah, like, wow, yeah, we're really hitting this hard and clear. So it's good, it's very good. But and then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were in a
man. What a situation. And like, I think it's interesting because I did see people waffling online. They were like, in the first episode, they're like, well, is it really going to be about racism?
Yeah, no.
It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this episode sort of cinches.
There's no doubt now.
Yeah. But I think it's a great thing to explore because it puts into context Sam's decision so much more. Because really, as a black guy, I mean, we're two white dudes talking about it. So it's like a little bit, there's a lens from Canada. It's a different lens to view it through, but it totally makes sense to me that Sam would have difficulty being like, I'm going to be Captain America, even though there's this super rocky, it's an understatement, history between, kind of black folks and the American government, the American, kind of society in general. So yeah, I think it'll be really cool to see where they work in this new character.
I have a hunch that Sam may look to Isaiah Bradley for maybe, like, I don't know if I'd call it mentoring or whatever, but like, give me some perspective here. And help him see his place maybe a little more clearly too, and what's kind of needed now. There's some cool stuff I think coming up with that. Interesting that Isaiah Bradley Captain was old as well.
Well, he was I think they said the Korean War he was involved with, and so Korean, I want to say that was it 80s. I'm not super versed on
Korea. Was
it was the 50s. Okay, so it was like right after World War II.
That's right. Yeah.
So
in World War II and Vietnam.
Yeah, because I mean, we see that Cap will age with time,
right?
So because he was unfrozen in like 2011 or whatever in the canon of Marvel, and then he lived out a number of years. So
kept him really young, right?
Yeah. So if Bradley got his powers before, like right away, then like right after World War II, presumably they probably just started immediately trying to make new super soldiers after Cap disappeared.
Makes sense.
So
man, they're passing around super soldier serum like Gatorade.
Well, and so that's the interesting. I have a feeling that because the ending of the episode, they are heading to speak to Zemo, who's in prison,
right?
And because he knows more about Hydra and the super soldier serum they were using, because the ending of Civil War, that was kind of a big plot point of that movie. Spoilers for Civil War from 5 years ago. That there was a number of super soldiers, like the Winter Soldier that Hydra had been creating, who Zemo offs at the end of that movie. But he clearly did his research, so it makes sense they'd go to him. But I'm curious where that ties into Isaiah Bradley and into this power broker. He probably has some context, and it's kind of cool that we'll be getting some Hydra, kind of holdover and whatever. Do you think that Zemo is actually in prison? Do you think that that's present day?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about it, I'm not sure. I was thinking on, like, how does this tie in with Black Widow? Is he part of that piece of the story as well, which was supposed to come out before Falcon Winter Soldier, right? So I don't know.
I suppose because they're in
we keeping you up there, buddy?
Past your bedtime? No, I think they're in Germany, or they're in Europe somewhere in the Black Widow movie from the trailers. So we could be seeing, I mean, obviously we won't be seeing Scarlett Johansson, but there's some other characters in there that could take up the moniker Black Widow. So maybe she'd show up. But my thought was that that scene with Zemo might be a flashback, because I had the thought, or the kind of I thought that he was already going to be broken out when the series started, primarily because of the snap. Like, he would have gotten away and sort of just been doing criminal stuff in the meantime. So I'm wondering if next episode will open with kind of a prison break, and then when he actually meets them, it'll be different. But I don't know. Right now, it seems to me like they're going to be going to talk to him in prison. But overall thoughts on the episode, overall opinion? Yes, no?
No, I'm liking it. I'm definitely feeling the miss, of the whole team. I'm feeling the pain of Falcon and Bucky both. Like, I got done the episode, I was like, I want my Avengers back, man. So But I'm excited to see where it's going. I'm glad Sam and Bucky got together.
Sure.
I'm glad that they got a mission under their belts. Their little marriage counseling scene was
Oh, that
funny.
was funny. Yeah, their banter in general, I think, is
That
great.
was good.
They're the bit where he's like, "What, you're White Panther now?" And he's like, "It's White Wolf."
Yeah, White Wolf.
Actually, which is he's called that in the comics at a certain
Yeah,
point,
that's
like
right.
when he comes up. And I love how Sam just kind of has this like, what the, like, what are you talking about face? And then the kid too on the side of the road there when he's like, you're Black Falcon, right? He's like,
Yeah.
why, like, why you gotta throw black in front of the name? I thought that was fun. They had some just good
That was fun.
good dialogue, like humanizing dialogue. They feel I don't know, they feel very human and very like,
Yeah.
there's some level of dysfunction where like you can tell they'll work together well and stuff, but like, man, their personalities just do not clash.
Yeah.
But yeah, or they do clash. But I think in general, yeah,
I think it's gonna bring them together.
Oh, totally. Yeah, they're like, oh, we're never gonna see each other again. It's like, that's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
no,
You
I
guys are
think
gonna
this
be
is
great
gonna
friends
be
by the end of this. Like, yeah, they'll never admit it,
Yeah.
but they'll be great friends.
That's right.
The uncertainty, of being kind of new heroes and being given responsibility.
Yeah.
Where kind of the Avengers had a lot of that. Like, the old team is not around right now, so people
Yeah.
need to pick up the torch, and this is kind of, and the people who are picking up the torch don't have the jawline for it and are going to screw something up. So, apologies to Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
But sorry,
it's an
man.
ill-fitting bike helmet.
Sorry, bud.
All right, yeah.
So that's our recap for episode 2. We'll be back for episode 3 next week. What do we got for news?
Hit the news.
The news. You have a name. What did you name this segment?
I just called it news from the nerd realm. Like, I needed a placeholder, man.
I have a placeholder. Last night at 2 a.m. after I finished the episode, I have this in my notes because you wrote Marvel recap. What should we call this? I just wrote Recaptain America. Recaptain American. Sorry, I didn't spell. It's 2 a.m. So yeah. What do you got? I got a couple things.
I was excited to see the Black Widow, not the date necessarily, but that they are planning on both a Disney Plus and a theatrical release, because at this point I'm ready to get to a theater. So I'm all in, man. I don't care. Like, if I got to wear a mask to the whole thing, that's just fine. I'm in. And so I'm excited to see a Marvel movie in a theater again. So that's July 9th, I believe it was. And Disney Plus, of course, you're going to have to pay the $30 for the premium access to the movie on Disney Plus, but then theatrical release too. So that's pretty sick. Really excited about like that. And then the other thing that caught my eye, like yesterday, like last night, I think even maybe yesterday afternoon, a Dark Alliance multiplayer game. By Wizards, which I just thought you and your brothers and me, like, why are they doing this in June though, bro? I got work to do over the summer.
It's a weird release date.
It is a little weird. It's like summer vacation, man.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that like that's been known about for a little while. I didn't realize you didn't know about it.
I think I had heard about it at some point. I hadn't seen the release date, and I remember hearing something about like a multiplayer, cooperative game, and thinking, man, that's like Heroes reincarnated, the old Xbox original Heroes game, right? So anyway, it looks really, really cool. Takes place in Forgotten Realms, so that's fun, man. I'm in.
Well, what's fun is it's in Icewind Dale, which is where I'm running my current campaign,
right?
And it's about the companions of the Hall, Drizzt and Wolfgar, and
that's awesome.
I don't know them very well. I didn't read the novels, but they're in the lore, and so
so this is, I'll age myself again if it hasn't already become clear. I've been in this a little while, but back when Mom and I got married, we took a road trip to northern BC, and we stopped in Jasper National Park, Canada, and it was pouring rain, and it was supposed to be pouring for 3 days, and it was a 2-day drive, and we picked up a cassette copy of the Icewind Dale trilogy.
Right.
It was like 10 cassettes.
Jeez.
Double-sided, and we
Yeah.
binged.
I can download that in
It was
30
an
seconds
audiobook,
now.
man. I know, right? Like it was this massive, kind of cassette binder.
Right.
Yeah, we listened to the Icewind Dale trilogy audiobook, and it was voice acted, which was super
Oh,
cool.
cool. That's very
Yeah,
cool.
it wasn't just narrated, it was actually acted out. And so anyway, I love Icewind Dale, love the whole North, Frozen North, the Forgotten Realms and stuff. So Dark Alliance.
That'll be very cool. I'm excited. They had like a little gameplay video that came out, and it seems fun. It seems, kind of like a co-op, kind of hack and slash type experience. The trailer's tone was weird to me. It was kind of like it felt like it was trying to make D&D cool for people who think it's still, lame nerd stuff. It was like, oh yeah, these orcs are rocking on heavy metal and flipping off the camera, and man, you're a cool badass. Like that's definitely sometimes how D&D feels tonally, like when you're playing it. But I don't know. It felt weird for the trailer. The gameplay still though looks very fun, and if that is just kind of the vibe of like just go and kill some monsters, I can still like if it's fun, it'll be, I'm fine with that. The loot's good, if the gameplay feels fun, and if it's not like super repetitive, I'm there. I'll probably wait for reviews, but not too long until that's out. June. There's also an Aliens,
that'll be fun.
Colonial Marines type game with the same kind of co-op versus Hordes of Monsters one coming out, I think in June as well. Aliens Fire Team, it's called. But on that note, you're talking about fantasy novels. I had some interesting news from the Critical Role team. And I think this was just on their stream last night as a time of recording. They announced it, but Critical Role is doing a novel. They have a novel about it's like a prequel they're coming out with about two of their characters.
Nice.
And I think that's just kind of a fun little milestone because, I mean, Critical Role, they got their animated series coming and all these they've been slowly like merchandising, and it's kind of an interesting experiment in turning a D&D campaign, an improvisational kind of story, into a universe of actual kind of, concrete storytelling. So this novel is coming out in October. I don't know that I'm going to read it necessarily. I just think it's a fun little note.
If it's got any kind of like readability, like the old Dungeons and Dragons novels, like Icewind Dale trilogy or Shadowdale, any of those, Spellfire, I loved all of those, the Harpers. And so if it's got some fun characters, it's not a hard read. I'd be in. I'll do it.
I think, and I think it's not tough to make and I mean, it's okay. So from those old books, like, are the legendary figures of D&D like Drizzt and stuff, are those characters like player characters? Because I know some of the people in the spell names, like I think Morden Kanan and stuff, like those are people, like the creators of the game. They had characters who invented those spells, like that was their character. Was it a similar situation for like Drizzt and such, or those?
Drizzt was, Elminster was, like, this is like Gary Gygax crew way back in the day, and there was only a couple of them. I can't remember if Mordenkainen was. I think he might have been, or maybe just the next next campaign up from that, but very, very close to the beginning. Some of the early ones, even as part of Drizzt's Icewind Dale party, like Wolfdar, Canterbury, Regis the Halfling, and Trary the Assassin, Artemis and Trary. I think those were all very, very early on, and if they weren't PC, they might have been NPCs. But
so it's kind of cool that now there's this lineage of the new creators, the new hotness, if you will, of D&D coming up with these stories. Plus, if they come up with a cassette version, or an audiobook, they're called audiobooks now. If they come up with an audiobook version, they'll probably get the voice actors who played the characters back, and you get an authentic. I think that'd be great. That's a slam dunk.
They're all voice actors anyway.
Yeah, that's a slam. I don't see them not doing that. They do it
almost
for free,
like you didn't.
That's sweet. I have one last thing. National Treasure is getting rebooted on Disney Plus.
Oh, Nick.
Well, that's the thing is from the press release, or at least I think it's rumored. I don't know if it's an official thing, but Nick Cage is not back for this.
Okay.
It's a younger cast.
Right.
It's I forgot the name. They had a name for the character. And they're kind of doing similar sleuthing through American history with, all the signs and symbols. It'll be fun. I just had a little note and I said, like, Nick Cage will be coming back. Like, it's going to be like the new kind of young crew, but they're going to do like Mandalorian kind of deal where, it seems unconnected. And then they're going to bring in Nick Cage and it'll be like, oh my God. Like, they're going to have the big moment where he returns.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
National Treasures is great. It's dumb fun. And
it's a fun franchise, man. I love it.
Yeah, a TV show with the same kind of bonkers, like we're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. Like, do it. Like, I love that. It's just bonkers. So, that was what I had there. What's our time at? I didn't start timing it. I'm
not even sure. I think we're about 30 minutes in. We're good.
Perfect. Well, it's a great time then because we have lots of breathing room for our D&D segment.
Yeah, the table talk.
The table talk. Oh, I came up with that one at 2 a.m. as well. I don't know if that's a good idea.
I don't know, man. It might stick. It's not bad.
Tabletop topics talk, probably lame. I have in brackets.
Tabletop topics talk.
Tip top shape.
Tabletop.
I have Gateway to the Savage Frontier listed as the one we played. Is that?
Oh, it might have been. It was the first one. I believe it was Gateway, actually.
Gateway. Okay, so Treasures is a different one. So
Treasures, I think, was the sequel.
Yeah, what is it? What happened? What just happened? What? Please explain. Contextualize.
So how far did you get? What did you end up doing? What I want, because then what I'll do is
well, just introduce. I mean, like first, like what were we playing? If someone skipped to this segment, like, what is it? What does it do?
Okay.
Where's it from?
So
background.
Yeah. So back in the day, this was second edition Dungeons and Dragons. It was actually known as Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. AD&D is what we used to call it. And they released, it was SSI was the computer company at the time that released the Gold Box games. And the Gold Box games were just like almost as best as they could a recreation of a tabletop experience where the computer was the dungeon master and you created a party of up to 6 characters that ranged the gamut through the classes at the time, which were actually pretty minimal. But they would write an adventure. Most of them took place within the Forgotten Realms. There was also then a Kryn Dragonlance set, or series of 3. And kind of all followed the same, same sort of format where you would wander around in a kind of, first person, like weird dungeon kind of format. And then when you got into an encounter, it would kind of take a bird's eye view of what could be like a table dungeon, top down version. And then, it was turn-based combat and all the management of, spells and health and healing and magic items, the whole 9 yards. And that was the Gold Box games. And it was quite a franchise. I don't remember how many games they actually had, but I played a good chunk of them.
Did you beat them all, or did you just kind of?
Oh, most of them but you know what? Back in the day, beating a game was like you got to the end battle, maybe you struck the final blow, the last hit points were rendered to 0, and then there wasn't even credits. It was just back to the title screen. Yeah. Like, what happened, man?
Yeah.
You might have got an end card with hey, you've finally defeated the blah blah blah. Set the blah 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 right.
The lich or
that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's it's a Sonic the Hedgehog effect where they kind of just kick you back to exactly. So I didn't get much playtime into it because my week was filled with a lot of things, and I'm probably going to try and pick up more, but effectively what I got through was a solid hour of character creation, which was fun because so here's the names of the characters that I came up with. So I had a cleric named Dombus. I took a bit of a cue from Critical Role, and I made a gnome named Scanlan, but they didn't have bards, so I made him a thief.
Right.
I had a magic user with like 8 hit points that I named Coward.
How'd you get 8 hit points for a magic user?
I don't remember. Maybe it was 9 hit points, or maybe I'm thinking of the AC. It was not many hit points.
No,
So I named him Coward. I had a fighter, a dwarf fighter, who I called Bobo.
Yep.
Because I couldn't think of a name for her. And then I had a thief named Jumpy.
All right.
So I made these 5 characters, and I thought it was very funny how you could just re-roll infinitely.
Yeah, I know.
For your stats.
We would literally just hit re-roll, and you were just waiting for the highest roll for the stat, whatever the class was. You're
just waiting for an 18, and
you'd hit the 18, and you know what? If you weren't paying attention, you'd click through the 18.
Well, I did that. There was a couple times where I was like, I got like 3 18s, and I was like, "This is a god roll, cool." Press Y for go, and it was like
R for reroll.
Yeah. No, yeah. So that was the other thing, is the menus were very, very clunky. So it took a hot minute to actually sort everything out.
We lived without a mouse in those days. Everything
I didn't even use the mouse because like they had an option to enable it, and it was laggy.
They eventually adapted them for mice, but it was originally just tab and then hit enter or use the letter of the the first
they give the commands at the bottom. So I made these 5 characters. We were in the starting town. I wandered around a little bit and just kind of tried to get a lay of how it works, and it was interesting enough. I got turned away by some guards. I walked into a tavern, and it was like the guy said, "What'll it be?" And I had 2 options: leave or fight. And I was like, "Is this what we do when we just walk it? This is the response. There's no
only options, man."
Well, I mean, I walk into a bar. I assume there would be like an option to be like drink or something. I don't know, but no, they didn't.
Right?
It was just
like you like order wings.
Yeah, it was like no, you can.
See, you fight or you got to get out of here.
So I left. And I was wandering around. I got into a fight in an alleyway with some thieves. They were robbing a dude. And that's the point I realized I did, but that's the point I realized that none of my characters had any equipment.
Right.
So Coward had no spells. Dombus had no spells, and no one had weapons, even though their characters had weapons. Well, one had the bow, so something was working. But anyway, we did win the fight. Coward died.
Yeah.
But we recruited the guy we saved, and he gave us a quest. And then
died or unconscious died?
Well, he was unconscious. I wasn't sure if he was dead or unconscious, but I rested. So I guess then that brought him back up, which was nice. I was hoping.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I managed to prep spells for him, and basically I got this quest from the guy. The issue is it keeps referring back to a journal.
Yes.
And it'll be like, hey, you record what you see in journal entry number whatever, which is cool. I don't have the journal, so I can't follow the storyline of the game. So I have to find it online or something.
And it's unplayable without the journal.
Yeah.
Like it was a paper copy that came in the box, and you needed it the whole time. It was kind of
like a thick volume, because it seems like there's a lot in there. Like, was it pretty dense?
Like think like tourist center brochure kind of thing. Like
interesting. Okay.
Maybe 16 pages, 8 pages, double-sided kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, it might have been a little bigger, but there was codes in there too for copyright protection. Even if you didn't have the journal, you didn't get into the game because you got to go to page 7, word number 73.
So I left the town hoping to follow this quest, but I didn't have any way of finding out where I was supposed to go, or because I kind of clicked through the dialogue. I was like, okay, sure, this sounds good. There's no quest log, there's no, like, they expect you to remember it all, which is super fair. So I spent the rest of my playtime lost in the wilderness, wandering around, and eventually I just got my ass beat by some hobgoblins.
Yeah.
They wiped us all out.
Oh yeah.
And I did figure out how to get spells going, but I couldn't quite figure out how to make them target.
Yes.
I targeted myself with a magic missile at one point.
Oh, that happens. Yeah.
That happens.
That was I just send it out and it just comes right back into you.
I put my magic user on auto, or not, sorry, my ranger,
right.
Ranger, whatever, someone had a bow. I put the bow user on autopilot because I couldn't figure out how to fire the bow at range.
Right. Yeah.
So they would just attack automatically, and I was like, okay, that's fine.
When I went back in and I created a party of 6 and kind of balanced it as best I could remember. And getting back into it, I was realizing how much time it took to master the interface and actually then be effective, in combat. Because as I played it too, all I ran into was some of the random encounters, except for that one in the city, the very first one that you tend to run into.
Yeah.
But the rest, as I got out into the countryside there, it was all just random encounters too.
Yeah.
And and then just remembering, all the mechanics. It's clunky, like
yeah,
but it does do a good job of recreating that system at the time. The advanced dungeons,
sure, yeah,
pretty good. And at the time, the pen and paper system and the games really required you to nurse your character through the first couple of levels because they were really fragile, especially the magic users.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of got a couple spells behind you, you had some healing abilities, then things started to roll and you were reasonably powerful.
No, yeah, it definitely has that feeling of everybody's very fragile.
Yeah.
You got to be very careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely did have that vibe of like, this feels like the tabletop experience, especially because I've been reading through that Ravenloft second edition book. And this, well, no, was this first or second? This was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, you said. So this is first. Yeah. So this is technically first edition.
Right.
But you can see, I mean, the second edition was kind of a pretty close follow on, right? So
well, this, like the Gold Box games, that was second edition.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So because I was just gonna say, like, the writing, the way they write these 2e books feels very much in the same vein of how this is like toned and written, is very like kind of bullshit. Like a little bit like just like things will just happen to you and you just gotta like, it feels a little bit, you could call the 5th edition and the newer stuff kind of handholdy in that it telegraphs things and makes it fair to the players.
Yeah.
But this definitely has that feeling of like there is an unpredictability and kind of a like, if you die, you die. That's just the world, man. Like, it feels like characters are far more disposable.
Yeah,
like you're not investing in a grand story for one character. It's kind of like,
well,
all right,
and that's
you're treating it like a game,
Like the Gold Box games were savage that way because the computer doesn't care, right?
Yeah.
As a DM, you did some nursing, like you kind of kept your characters alive sometimes because the numbers, and the mechanics were like, whoops, and so you'd have to help them out a little bit, be a bit of a nanny for them.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay. So it was fun.
There we go.
I might go back to it. Might not.
I could burn some time doing it. I don't have a ton of time to burn, but I like still playing.
I want to at least get a little bit further and see anything besides hobgoblins and thieves.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Into the plot a bit more.
Maybe Coward will finally rise up. Make him into an NPC in my Icewind Dale game.
Be the hero that we all need.
That's that's the last segment. We got
let's give some stuff away.
Yeah, we got our giveaway with a sweet.
So we're gonna keep it super simple.
Yeah.
We got our domain set up, bradndad.com.
Brad N, letter N, dad.
And the letter N, dad.com. And if you go there, it's just going to redirect you right to our YouTube channel. And for the next 2 weeks, if you subscribe and comment on any one of the videos, we're going to include you in the chance to win a copy of Candlekeep Mysteries, the latest source adventure material, 5th edition from D&D.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to subscribe, you got to comment,
and
we'll double check all of that. And if we choose you, it'll be just random at the end of 2 weeks. I'll get your address from you and I'll just ship you a copy of the book.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
I'd say comment with your favorite D&D class. That was our topic last week.
Oh, that was our topic last week. Sure. Your favorite D&D class.
Great way to know, or your least favorite if you feel like spouting some negativity on the internet. There's not enough negativity on the internet. I found.
You're right.
I think I don't have a Twitter account, but I assume it's fine there too. And so I just don't think there's enough hatred in the internet. And
yeah, so your least favorite or favorite character class. And you can go, and if you're an old schooler, if you got your start when it was like D&D or advanced D&D, and you want to choose a character class back then, or if it's 5th edition, you want to choose one from here, that's great. Whatever. I'd love to hear more.
Should we tell them that the way to actually win the giveaway is to comment elf? Elf. Yeah.
Oh, that was a character class at one time. If you comment elf,
you've won. Disclaimer, you won't have actually won. But new copy of Candlekeep Mysteries. Excellent module from what I've heard. Lots of really fun one-shots.
It looks fun. Yeah, and, I'm gonna have a look at it this weekend. Yeah. And we'll send out a copy in 2 weeks. One of our subscribers. Hey, we got 4 subscribers.
Do we really? Wow.
Yeah, the first one was my mom, your grandma.
Well, look forward to our 5 subscriber special where we put out another.
You can just give some to all of them.
Yeah. Right now, you have a 1 in 6 chance.
That's pretty good.
1 in 5. Well, because I think I subscribed with one of my accounts as well, just so I could.
Oh, okay.
The button was there.
Well, we got 3.
Well, I'm not commenting my favorite class, so I'm not. Yeah.
BradandDad.com.
BradandDad.com.
Right to our YouTube channel. Subscribe and comment with your favorite or least favorite Dungeons and Dragons class, and we'll include you in the giveaway. That's it, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. That's the show, you guys.
That's a wrap.
Take care. We will see you next week.
See y'all.
Bye-bye.